My name's Trevor Maxwell.
I'm Sarah Maxwell's wife.
I'm 42 years old. I live in Cape Elizabeth, Maine with Sarah and our daughters who are 14 and 12. I am living with stage 4 colon cancer, and I was diagnosed in March of 2018. And at the time it was diagnosed as stage 3, and we had hoped it was confined to my colon. What we learned later that it had metastasized to my liver. Sarah and I did a ton of research at that point on trying to find cancer surgeon, and the name in our research, the name that kept coming up was Dr. Lisa Rutstein. We went to the Topsham Care Center to meet with Dr. Rutstein, and that's an unforgettable day because she and a couple members of her team spent,
oh my gosh, it was like 3 hours she spent with us just answering questions, question after question.
It was the kind of consult, it wasn't really a consult. I mean,
right.
it was getting to know someone at a human level, and it was clear right away that she was just incredibly smart, and even more than her intelligence, what impressed us about her was that she was compassionate and understood the human side of what we were going through.
She was going to take all the time that we needed to answer any questions we had and kind of go over all the different options and what could happen and the possibilities, and it just makes you feel good to have all of your what ifs answered.
When I had my first metastasis in my liver, there was a question whether it was actual metastasis or not, and the early scans were not conclusive. So there was some time that went by, and then I had another scan, and that scan clearly showed that there was a tumor up very high in my liver, up near the dome of my liver. And by that point it had grown. It wasn't huge, but it was a sizable tumor, and it was the only one that we could see at that point. And Dr. Rutstein was confident that she could remove it, but it was going to be a technically demanding procedure. And this was open liver surgery, so it was a big surgery, but it went exactly as planned, and there were no major complications or anything. You know, they did a brilliant job. Another thing about her is that she's very realistic. I mean, very compassionate and kind and positive, but also just very realistic and matter of fact. So when we said, like, is this surgery gonna cure me? You know, she would say, there's a potential for that, but now that the cancer has spread to another organ, there's also a chance that it's gonna come back and that we may have to do things down the road. And that's exactly what happened. I scanned again in February 2019 and had a recurrence. I had a tumor on the left side of my liver, so a whole other part of the liver. So we decided, okay, like,
Here we go again.
Yeah, we decided, yep, I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer. So I had a second successful liver resection in May. I was only in the hospital one day after a second open liver surgery, which was amazing. People ask me, like, what do you want to say to Dr. Rutstein? And I guess the biggest thing is just thank you. She has given me, you know, she saved my life twice. And, you know, what do you say to someone who does that? You know, she's given us the gift of time together. Like, we've had an amazing summer since that surgery. And, you know, no one can say what the future's gonna bring. But for right now, I feel great, and I feel confident, and I feel like I'm so happy to be able to do the things that I want to do with my family, that I don't really have words to express the gratitude for Dr. Rutstein and her team. You know, I think for her, a thank you is enough. Like, she knows how important that is to give people time with their loved ones, to give them hope at, you know, living a long life with their loved ones, and it's the kindest gift that anyone could give someone.